Hey, good morning, Georgia. Welcome to Community Focus and Faith. You know something about the town we're talking about today because that highway right in front of your house goes straight to it.
Sure does. Yeah, keep going about 2 hours from my house and you'll hit Augusta.
Yeah, we're talking Augusta, Georgia today. And if you haven't studied Georgia history, Augusta, Georgia plays prominently in the history of Georgia. It was a trading outpost way back in the day. But today, obviously, folks know it for the Masters Golf Tournament, educational institutions, industry. It's right on our border with South Carolina. We got a great group today. We're going to be talking to Ginger Emerson today, doing our human trafficking segment. Ginger, thanks for being on today.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah, and Kimberly Usher, Kimberly Ushery is going to be with us today. Kimberly's going to be our good citizen today. She's going to be talking about our children's village and a at-risk youth program that she's helping with. Kimberly, good to have you today.
Thank you. I'm honored.
And some of you have heard John Noel on my radio show, Energy Matters. And John is on the Canal Authority in Augusta, and he's going to be talking about a very unique project that they've had for a long time. It's a canal, and it's not only involved with tourism, but it generates some power. So, John, looking forward to hearing more about that. And finally, Mayor Hardy Davis, we're going to drop everybody to the green room, and we're going to talk to the mayor. Mayor, you know, I do a lot of these every Thursday with different communities, and I hear about different challenges communities are having. Whether it was the pandemic or whether it's inflation or whether it's finishing up that project or supply chain. There's a lot of challenges that come with running a city, and you've been running one of our largest cities, Augusta. So, what do you say to people when they say, "Wow, what's it like to be mayor?"
Well, it's an interesting job, obviously. I'm fortunate, and Commissioner, thank you for this great opportunity to be a part of the program on today. I'm excited about the work that you continue to do across the state of Georgia in your role in the Public Service Commission. For Augusta, being the mayor of Georgia's second largest city, and I pointedly say that particularly for my good friend Skip Henderson over in South Elbin, Columbus. That's a running joke he and I have at this point. But there's a lot going on in our city. I mean, when you look at the fact that, yes, everybody knows Augusta for the Masters, home of James Brown, the godfather of soul, and today is certainly a feel-good morning, but we've quickly become the cybersecurity capital of the nation. And when you look at all of those things confluencing at one time, it reminds me of the challenges that we faced really over the last 3 years, dealing with the global pandemic around health, the social injustice and race, all of those issues. And they've all come at one time where historically, they come in decades, if you will. But this has been a unique opportunity. Augusta's seeing tremendous growth, and I'm really excited about what's happening as I prepare to exit in January of 2023.
Mayor, a lot of folks don't realize that I-20, it really should be called Electric Avenue, I think, because you've got the Rivian factory that's going to be built there, one of the largest electric car factories in America. And in Augusta, you already have Club Car and EasyGo, and folks may not think about those as being electric vehicles, but to me, the impact of a low-speed electric vehicle is even greater than a car because most golf cart or off-road vehicles do not have a catalytic converter that do any kind of pollution mitigation. And so when you're running an electric vehicle, whether that's a golf cart or any kind of the specialty vehicles that are made in your community, it really has an impact on air quality.
It absolutely has an impact on air quality. Again, it's interesting. I was just having this conversation with Sue Parr over at the Chamber of Commerce last week, where we pointedly were talking about this notion that we've been sharing for years that 90% of the world's low-speed vehicles are made in Augusta, Georgia. That's an interesting fact that people don't know, don't realize, but they are low-speed. And they, quite frankly, are the advent of full-size vehicles, whether it's Rivian, whether it's Tesla, are these vehicles. We've been doing that for generations in Augusta with EasyGo, Textron specialized vehicles, and of course, Ingersoll ran the club car. So it's something that we're very proud of, and it certainly positions Augusta to be a leader in those industries moving forward because we've done it so well.
Mayor, when we think about electric vehicles in the future, and I know I was at the GMA conference a couple of weeks ago, and it's a conversation a lot of mayor and councils are having. You think about electric bikes, another vehicle that as actually we're importing and manufacturing a tremendous number of EV bikes. You've got all of those low-speed vehicles that are being made in Augusta, Georgia. You've got the Rivian and the Hyundai that are going to be made in Georgia. And now, you're talking about electric forklifts, electric yard jockeys for ports, and more are being electrified. It's going to be, I think, a tremendous boost to our state and to our air quality as these things go forward.
It's extremely important as we think about our air quality. We've got generations of Augustans and Georgians, for that matter, good Georgians who are looking for communities of interest that provide them with safe neighborhoods and certainly good air quality. We want to do everything we can to lower the incidence of asthma in our school kids. And this is a way for us to be able to do that. And again, I appreciate your leadership on this, not just from a conversation, but you rolled up your sleeves and said, how do we make electric more available to communities across the state of Georgia?
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that. Let's talk about Green Augusta just for a second, because you guys are doing more with EVs and other type of clean technology.
We are. One of the goals that we had early on is how do we transition Augusta? You may remember several years back, 2016, 2018 timeframe, we had the largest municipal solar project in the state of Georgia. That was in partnership with Augusta Power when they were working on those efforts across the state, generating 3 megawatts at 3 locations. So 1 megawatt at each location for a total of 3 megawatts. We wanted to continue to make those transitions. And so we had a goal of how do we convert our vehicle fleet, particularly our non-emergency vehicle fleet, to low to no emission vehicles. And so by 2030, we've got a goal of 15%. We've already started establishing charging stations across the county. Some will now be put here at the municipal building in downtown. We're looking forward to having our first cadre of buses being brought into the city in the fall of this year. That'll be electric buses. We've got the oldest bus fleet in the state of Georgia. We're averaging 9.5 years for our public transit fleet, one of the oldest in the state of Georgia. Quite frankly, maybe one of the oldest in the southeastern United States. And now it's time for us to make those types of investments. And so we've already started purchasing e-vehicles that are being used from the utilities, from an engineering, housing, and community development perspective. And we look forward to our sheriff's agency. And again, non-emergency situations having their first set of e-vehicles as well. And this is good for our climate, it's good for Augusta. And it certainly allows us to continue to be an industry leader across the state of Georgia as well.
Mayor, final question about the Fight Blight Augusta. I know as I travel across our state, I was in LaGrange the other day presenting a sustainability award, and an old mill community, 30 mills at one time, a lot of old mill houses, some of them without any insulation, some blighted areas. I think it's a challenge for a lot of our older cities as they try to recover areas that have been in disrepair. And I know you've been working hard at this.
We've been working hard at it, and I applaud the members of my commission. We started talking about this in 2016. We had an initial thrust of investing $900,000 for environmental services, and that was really to tear stuff down. But we've now got a collaborative effort with private sector partners who are helping us go back in and build new products, single family housing and some multifamily, so that we can create a community of now that invites people from all across the state, all across this nation to want to come to Augusta, Georgia, where they can live, learn, work, and raise their families. And so it is an issue for any city in America, and certainly our older cities we've got just swaths of vacant, abandoned, and blighted properties. And we thought we'd take a very strategic and concerted effort. We were able to use some ARPA dollars to help us with that as well. And it's going to be a long-term project that will allow us to see and pay big dividends for future generations of Augustans.
Well, Mayor, I just want to thank you for your service to the city of Augusta. I know it's a tireless job, and not a lot of appreciation, but I just publicly want to say thank you for your leadership and for your great work, and wish you Godspeed as you move to this next area of service in your life.
Thank you so much, Commissioner, and I appreciate your leadership and your friendship over these years, and continue to keep doing what you're doing. Faith, thanks so much, and John, keep doing good work.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, we're going to bring in John Noel. John is on the Canal Authority, and one of the unique things about Augusta is that they have this canal, and it's a multi-purpose canal. It's certainly provided an important role back in the day. Good morning, John. How are you doing?
Good morning. Good morning.
Tell us what we're seeing in this photograph.
So you met here with our executive director of the Augusta Canal Authority, Dayton Sherhouse, who has run it actually from its inception in the early 90s. He is showing you here a turbine, one of many that span the length, the lateral length of this long canal, many mile long canal. And the thing to sort of remember is this is coming off the Savannah River. So you got the Savannah River down here, and the Piedmont Plateau cuts nearby. And so they said, well, wait a minute. If we just cut a canal along here, we have roughly 50 feet of drop. You have a lot of water and 50 feet of drop, you've got power. You've got the hydroelectric power opportunities. And what the canal they discovered in 1825, they already knew this in Lowell up in Massachusetts, was you can drive mechanical processes for textile plants. So they brought that same technology to Augusta. They drove it with belts and wheels. And then later, not just the power aspect of it, but also the water aspect of it, because you can take boats, little Peter boats along there and pick up things and move them. And in Augusta, you have the furthest inland port. As you well know, you can get in Savannah and go all the way on up to Augusta. And there's a little dam in there we created years ago further down. That's another story. We talked to the Corps about that. But the point is a boat can come all the way from the coast up. And that is that's pretty impressive. So the canal was built really for power, for water, and for transportation purposes. And what I find interesting about it, because as you well know, I'm the green guy. I mean, I'm the greenie. I'm talking to a green guy, but I'm greener. And that is that we are generating green power off of this. And people don't think of it, oh, well, dams, I don't understand all that. The very first power source in Augusta was this power source.
Faith, let's move the picture to the turbine here, if we could.
There you go. 18. We'll get to the fun stuff. That's always fun stuff. In 1892, Augusta was driven. The streetcars were driven. The water pumping station for the city water source, all the street lights were driven by an electric power source that's these generators. Some of these are legacies from the turn of the century. And they are generating, we generate 3 or 4 megawatts, which now it's a lot of power, but now we realize that that's not a lot of power. Then it was the city power source. And so it's funny hearing the mayor speak. I was thinking to myself, now wait, if we were the first southern city to have electric streetcars and have electric city lights, maybe all that experience in the turn of the century meant we're the leader now in EVs vehicles. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's got to be a direct line. Absolutely a direct line. Everybody saw this. They had the power. They had the opportunity. They were used to it. And so maybe our grandchildren will be asking and talking about this 100 years from now, going, man, Georgia was really a leader. And it was because Rivian came and these other ones that suddenly were the Detroit of the electric car manufacturing. Who knows? But Augusta at that time was.
Yeah, John, let me ask you about the tourist impact or the economic development impact of the canal? Is it something that people are, it looks like they're enjoying music, they're enjoying boating. How much of an economic impact is the tourist aspect of it?
It's huge. We have, I cannot remember the visitor count, but we have, I don't know, 100 people plus a day that we do tours. Children, educational things, buses show up, kids get on these are called Petersburg boats. They're all electric. Maybe have another slide that shows the actual boats themselves. So there's the electric charging apparatus. There's the captain. They're long and sort of skinny, and they ride along the canal. They're designed for the canal, no wake and no sound, as is apt for electric things. We take all these people, not just on those music tours, which are fun, but students go up and down and they talk about the history of these old buildings, where all our generation facilities are, where the textile plants are, where there's revitalization going on. Then further down the canal, you have all this nature, and they see cranes and herons and, all kinds of critters. And kids go bonkers for that stuff, and adults love it. I'm a cheesy person on that sort of stuff. So it is educational opportunities. We're talking 50 to 80,000 people a year are touched by these tours. We have a historical center at the Enterprise Mill that's a real crowd pleaser. This is one of only 38 national heritage areas in the United States. It's a national. It's on the Park Service's National Heritage thing. 38 of them. We're one. That particular slide shows the ramifications of all this other stuff that's going on. Yes, we're doing education. Yes, we're doing history, all that sort of stuff. But this is where the meat and potatoes are, which is the 2 turbines at the Enterprise Mill where our headquarters are. You walk into the museum, you can walk up to this screen, and it will tell you the current readings, how much juice we're generating per generator. And we had pictures earlier of the big generators. Then it tells you how much the entire building, and this building is huge, 100 more residential units, commercial, all that stuff. It uses less than half the power generated by those turbines. The rest we sell back to Georgia Power. So that's the kind of impact that we can have for green power. We sell it at a reduced rate to that particular entity that runs it, and everybody wins.
Wow, John, to me, the electric boat piece of it, I don't know that we have any other electric boats running in the state of Georgia that I know of.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So I think that the overall message that you guys are promoting there, the clean hydropower, the electric
24/7. I love talking to this about my friends in the solar community. I'm like, hey, solar's great. It's dark every day and it rains a lot. But green power, hydropower is 24/7. Great.
Yeah. Yeah. So congratulations on your appointment to the authority board. And I know that, you and I have, a long-standing, friendship, and I know you're going to bring a lot of great ideas. And I personally hope that, as the mayor said, that we get those electric buses and that they're charged right there at your facility off of that hydropower. That would be cool.
Great idea. Yes.
Yeah. All right, John, thanks a lot for being with us today.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Hey, bringing Kimberly Ushery on today. Kimberly, congratulations. You're our good citizen that we're recognizing today for your work with Our Children's Village. Tell us a little bit about what Our Children's Village does.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here this morning. I'm the CEO of Our Children's Village. We were established in 2017 when I was working as a DJJ officer with the youth, and one of our youth got killed by another one. I rallied the community together. We created Our Children's Village, and over 500 people attended our first rally. We sit outside of Augusta, Georgia. We're in the CSRA in McDuffie County, but we service all the counties for at-risk youth. We have been recognized for a lot of the work that we do in our community. We receive a lot of grants from some of our local organizations and agencies, and we pride ourselves on our major accomplishment, which is the dinner table, which is held every year pre-COVID. pre-COVID. But since COVID hit, the dinner table was so close, everybody's sitting at the table talking about the issues from our kids, that we decided to redirect and work in the community during COVID, doing coats for kids, buying brand new coats, paying rent, paying mortgages, buying food. So after COVID cleared up a little bit, we decided to make sure that people knew that we were still out here working in the community. So we started this 2022 law enforcement program, and this is our first year doing that.
You know, I had a chance to shadow an officer, do a ride along, wrote an article about it for the Athens paper, and it was an eye-opening experience. I have several children in law enforcement. Faith's husband had been a police officer as well, but you are actually giving young people a chance to experience this shadowing. What kind of impact does that have on a young person?
Actually, what we do is we're allowing them to come in. Well, actually, we selected one person, one youth, age 18 to 21. They come into 911, to the 911 center, which everybody finds a little interesting, and they watch us the first week. The second week, they'll shadow the police department, and the third week, they'll shadow the sheriff department. What we're trying to do is expose them to careers and interests on the right side of the law, so that some of these kids may make a better decision as far as what their future holds. So we're hoping that with her wanting to be a criminal investigator later on in life, that this kind of gives her an entry-level perspective to what the law enforcement field holds.
Yes, I know that I have one of my own children that's in the FBI, and of course they are phenomenal investigators. That's what they do. And her experience really got started from a shadowing type of an experience with a nonprofit in this case that was involved with some rescuing operation of women. So what's ahead for our Children's Village? Is the organization coming out of this difficult financial time of the pandemic? I know that it's been a challenge for a lot of nonprofits.
Yes, sir. We are struggling, but we make it. We have a lot of community support. We work with a lot of the different agencies in our area. We partner with a lot of the different agencies. So we are looking forward to at least working toward a community youth center in our area, so that we can give our youth positive things to do and allow them to try to find redirection for some of the choices that they make. We're trying to reduce gun violence between youth. We're trying to reduce gang violence. We're trying to give them educational opportunities as well as career and military opportunities.
Awesome.
Well, I really appreciate you being on today. God bless you. We would like to be a part of this fundraiser next year when you guys do it. So please circle back. I'd love to be there. Maybe get a table, invite some of my friends like John Noel and others to come and be a part.
That would be awesome. I would love to have you on.
All right. Thank you very much, Kimberly, for being with
Thank
us.
you, and I appreciate y'all giving us a chance to be exposed a little bit more for what we're doing.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Well, every week we do a feature also on human trafficking. The mayor talked about property blight, but human trafficking, Faith, is a blight, a human blight on our state, with what traffickers are doing to women in particular, destroying their lives, or almost destroying their lives. Unfortunately, people like Ginger and others help put things back together again for ladies. So Faith, take it away and let's hear about Ginger's organization.
Yeah, so Ginger Emerson is with us. She's the executive director of iCare, which is a local Augusta organization. You know, we do these every week. Not always do we have someone from the actual area that we're focusing on in the human trafficking segment, but Augusta does have iCare that's working locally. So Ginger, I understand that you opened iCare in the spring of 2011. And you have a three-pronged approach to helping women who have been exploited and to eliminating this problem. Can you tell me a little bit about the services that you provide?
Good morning, Commissioner. Good morning, Faith. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share about this tragedy that we're dealing with. So it's difficult to respond to something if you're not aware that it's happening. So our heart is to raise awareness and prevention efforts so that when we are confronted with what's going on in our community, people know how to recognize it. And in the 11 years that we've been doing this, it has evolved. And so the way that the girls were first approached in 2011 has evolved into more of an online presence now. So prevention has evolved as well. And so when we're raising awareness, we want our community members, our partners, and our parents and custodians to realize that the first place that we can go about preventing our children from being groomed and recruited is online. Back in the day, there was a saying that where children play, predators prey. And so now our children are playing online. And so it's very, very important that we're raising awareness regarding where they're playing. And my husband is a co-founder and partner with me in this ministry. And his first career was in digital marketing. And he has worked with other community members to develop a curriculum called Guarding Digital Doorways. So we go into the community partners who invite us in, like the juvenile courts, youth groups, schools, PTOs, and he does a great presentation of helping parents to understand this prevention effort of guarding digital doorways. And then when children who have been identified as being recruited or groomed online and they need services, then we bring them in. We have a PhD level certified traumatologist, Dr. Jessica Pryor. She does a great job of our intakes and assessing where our families are at so that we can intervene in a child's life and in that family's life to provide services. Our services include trauma-informed counseling, case management, physical resources. And then we also offer classes that help the youth themselves to recognize why they're vulnerable and how they came about being recruited for the trafficking piece. In the restoration prong of what we're doing, we work with law enforcement we participate with sting operations and rescue operations to bring women in who need help. One of the most poignant memories I have of this is a few years back, we participated in an operation where 5 women were rescued. 3 children were on hand at the time, and 2 of the women were pregnant. So when we're talking restoration, our heart is to reach these young mothers who are being trafficked with their children being used as bait and as leverage to keep them in the life. So that is a very strong approach that we want to take in prevention and restoration. So we have a home where these women can be brought and receive education and the wraparound services they need.
That's awesome. So as we wrap up, I want to see how concerned community members can get involved with what you all are doing at iCare.
First off, if they want to know more about the prevention effort, to invite us in to speak about guarding digital doorways. That's an incredibly important part. And then in terms of helping us serve the youth who have been identified, transportation can become a barrier. And so we were grateful this year to receive a community grant to buy a vehicle. In the economy and what has happened during the pandemic, we did have to put an extra $8,000 to buy that vehicle. And so we are constantly raising money to make sure that our kids have the transportation they need for therapy and for the services that's offered in our office. So anyone who wants to help with the transportation piece, whether that be gas or if they want to be trained and become a vetted volunteer with our organization, we welcome that as well. And then, of course, monetary donations help us provide all of these resources and continue the long-term approach that we've taken to address human trafficking in Augusta.
Awesome. So we have your website scrolling across the bottom. You want to just read that out for people? I assume they can access all of that information on your website.
Absolutely. It's iCare for FOR, thevoiceless.org.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ginger. I really appreciate you coming on with us and getting connected. And we'll definitely reach out to you in the future for others of our trafficking events that we have.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ginger. Faith, where are we going next time?
So we're off next week, but July 21st, we'll be back with Community Focus. We'll be in Bethlehem, up there near you. And then July 28th, we will be in Lexington, Georgia.
Great. Well, that sounds great. Well, everyone, thanks for tuning in. You can always catch any of the replay of these interviews out there on any of my social media channels. So have a great day, everyone. And make sure you get that AC checkup. We don't want you paying too much for your power, and that bad AC or that filter that needs changed or that freon level that needs added is important for you to address that. So let's everybody try to do that. Thanks. Appreciate you
Thanks,
guys.
everybody.